Okay, hello, greetings and welcome. All right, so this video we'll do things a little bit differently. Now, there's this relationship between a micro and a macro. So if we look at pictures of the firing of the brain, so you go, okay, you have all these nerves in the brain, all these lights in the brain, all these pathways on this micro level. And this micro level, you might be through a brain scan, an image of the nervous system of the brain and the way electricity and light moves through it. And then you take a picture of the planet at night, all the connecting street lights in the cities and all these nodes and junctions. We go, oh, wow, that looks like a big brain. So we have this microcosmic relationship to a more macro relationship. Then as that moves to outer space, the way the planet has that consciousness and people have congregated and aligned themselves, and the energies look like a brain as a planet, then we have the macro where this is happening on a larger and larger scale. So the movements of the cosmos, the movements of the planets, the movements of the constellations, the way everything is shifting from the macro is reflecting effects in the micro, inside of you, all the way down to a cellular level. So these energies are, how do we call it, energies that are putting unconscious pressure for change and shift in direction. You'll notice that some days there's an energy in the air where people just appear more stressed. And the other days, everyone's happy and smiling and more synchronized and more comfortable. That the environment, the group energy seems to move. And some people, whatever that energy is, will sync with it really quickly and start acting it out. And other people resist it. No, I'm going to go the way I want to go. These energetic movements from environment to city to global to universal cosmic movements, they're interacting with each other. And when you're working with Kabbalah and you're doing letters akashically, every letter generates a sensitivity to cosmic movement because it's a cosmic language. So the sensitivity to cosmic movement is now is a good time to do something because the cosmic movements energetically are going to support that change or that shift in consciousness, that activity, that business venture, that spiritual activity. So when you train Kabbalah, you'll get a sense of, when you're resting your mind in the Akashic state of each of the 27 letters, there's a synchronicity with the cosmos through each one of these. And that if you train all 27 letters through your etheric body, your mental, astral, and physical, so you have 108 frequencies, you can do that with a string of beads. And then you just simply rest your mind in this open, expanded, receptive state. There's a type of telling, this is what the cosmos is moving, this is how the cosmos is moving. And the cosmic language signals that to you. So this sensitivity to, I'm going to move that in that direction. I'm going to do this. I'm going to move in synchronicity and live in harmony with cosmic motion. That sensitivity is very necessary for the highest levels of spiritual work. When we look at, let's say, the Buddha attaining enlightenment, there was a location. He was under a big tree. The tree is opening up his field. It was giving him protection from the rain and the elements. It was creating a synchronistic alignment to the living mind of nature. It was creating an environment which his mind could ascend and open. The timing in which he was doing that, the cosmic movements were opening. They were cracking open the higher light bodies. All those bodies of consciousness were synchronizing in such a way that this is a very good time to attain Nibbana. there was an opening there, and his mind was sensitive to that, and he released through it to attain. If the cosmic if the cosmic movements were in opposition to the attainment of the Dhamma, it would be much more difficult. So there's eras in which more people attain and eras where less people attain, because the level of support or ease and difficulty is different in those different eras. So what's the exercise? So for people who have done Kabbalah, who have gone through the 27 frequencies in the 4 bodies, you do a string of beads, 108 frequencies. You hold those 108 frequencies through the bodies. So you've done 27 into your etheric body, 27 into the mental, 27 in the astral, and 27 into the vital. And then you synchronize them, and you just let your mind expand out and invite a sensitivity, a receptivity to cosmic motion. That's the exercise. You sit within the Akashic state of trance, align yourself to how these cosmic energies are moving, and getting the microcosm of the body to connect to the macrocosm of the Akasha and the larger movements and synchronize them. You begin experiencing the shifts and changes. Now, obviously, things are very, very, very far away. They're very slow. So at first, it's sort of like, oh, these cosmic movements takes millions of years for anything to happen. That is true and not true at the same time. Now, here is 24-hour cycle, night and day. You have sunrise and sunset. You have one day. Every other planet has the same. It has a morning and a night, and there's a synchronicity to that with all the other planets. So when you're in the Akasha, you're not subject to time and space. You have the rising energy that's synchronizing with all the planets where it's morning and energy is rising, and then you have the synchronicity of sunset. So when you look at the consciousness of trillions of planets and all the living minds that exist within those environments and the rising of energy, you have that momentum wave in Akasha. At sunrise, if you're in resonance with all the other sunrises in the universe, there's an awakening that takes place in the Akasha through that synchronicity. So these Akashic sensitivities through the laws of resonance, they can happen instantaneously and very, very, very quickly. You resonate in such a way that you're in resonance with the movement that you want, the growth patterns you want, the stress adaptation that you want, the evolution that you want through Akasha. Now, for this, you need to have trained in Akasha. Now, if you concentrate on a rock and put a crystal in front of you, become one-pointed, the more still your mind as you concentrate, the more Akasha that accumulates, the more equanimity you feel, and then your mind drops past the rock. The crystal starts to flicker and coming out of form. You see through it because the Akasha accumulates to the point where the consciousness is stretching out and paying more attention to the emptiness underneath the crystal itself, and get the flickering effect. And then before long, you're in Akasha. The general accepted thing for this is about 10 years of concentration training to develop samadhi, to move through equanimity into the insight mind. Most people say it'd be about a decade of concentration to enter into an Akashic trance. So that's what most solo practices would expect. If you're in a group of people training Akasha, you feel that instantly. Oh, what's that? And there's a drunken effect. You feel drunk, and that's how your matrices are responding to Akasha and loosening, similar to a person taking alcohol and the matrix is loosening. Similar symptom, different cause. But then through the symptom, you relax through into that stillness, that infinity quality that's been generated in the room by the group you're in. And then, I've got that. My spirit knows what that is. My spiritual history of all these incarnations, I've touched that many times before. I want to own this. And then you pay attention to that and you begin pour breathing it and containing infinity. So you have limited Akasha in a limited size container. And then you use that as a door to unlimited Akasha. And you develop your Akasha skills. So that's a training process unto itself. People who have done that work and can work and tune to the Akashic state of each letter, You need that to be sensitive to cosmic movements. Once you have sensitivity to cosmic movements, use them as a power of resonance in your spirit to generate shifts in consciousness. And those shifts in consciousness crack open the crown, crack open the light bodies, cracks open the matrices that contain those light bodies for liberation to take place. So for those of you who are working Kabbalistically, try this exercise. Load all 27 letters, one breath each, into each of the bodies, and then just simply rest your mind in Akasha, pay attention. You can do it from the solar plexus state of Akasha or from above the crown state, and let your awareness pay attention to cosmic movements. As you pay attention, you'll feel shifts of the mind, shifts of potentiality, ideas of now's a good time to do this, and so forth, and journal them and interact with them. Remember, everything is mind. The universe is mind. All these cosmic movements are mind, and your mind is simply micro is in resonance with macro. And it's easier than you think. Once you have that resonance between the micro and the macro, universal movements, then you can optimize your practice routine. What you practice must be cosmically happening as you act on it in the moment and practice it now. So you go into Akashic trance, open up to the cosmos. What am I going to practice today? And just let yourself flow with it. And this is how you take the Kabbalistic framework, you turn it into a method for observing the cosmos, and then allowing liberation to take place through that method. All right, so I hope this makes sense to those of you who have been practicing Kabbalah, those who've gone through the Kabbalah workshop and trained it. Fun exercise. It's a good way to start whatever you're doing. Let's say you're going to go to the forest and do a Qigong. Take your string of beads, do the 108 repetitions, rest your mind within it, and then decide what Qigong am I going to do in this forest. And the result will surprise you. Okay, thanks for your time, and see you on the next video.